Are you ready for some pay-to-win Yu-Gi-Oh? Alright, what is up, boys and girls? Creeposaur from Creeposaur Inc. here, and today I am back for some more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh content. Joined with me today is YugiBot.
Hello, as usual.
So today what we're going to be doing a discussion on is how pay-to-win Yu-Gi-Oh is back and bigger than ever, I would feel. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say bigger than ever, but it's
I mean in
definitely
terms
back
of
with
like
a
its
vengeance.
resurgence, just like how expensive it is to play the deck just like outright. Because over time, like, it used to just, like, build up, you know what I mean? It was, like, build up at first, but now it's just, like, in your face almost
so
immediately in comparison to
what
how
we're
long we
talking
had,
about-
like, not pay to win.
Right, what we're talking about is, of course, the new set that just came out, Maximum Crisis, bringing along these $100 cards that you just need to play in order to play the deck.
Yeah. So, Maximum Crisis, I feel like it's not game-breaking or anything like that. It brings some pretty crazy monsters, and it's going to be, like, game-changing for a good while, and then we get Lynx, which will completely change the game as we know it altogether.
That's game-changing.
But that's something that, at this point, I know that we did a rant kind of thing video where we talked about how, personally, we don't really like Lynx. We still don't really like Lynx at all. I mean, I can vouch for this for myself. I know YugiBot doesn't really like them either.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not that big of fans in them, but the thing is that at this point, how the game looks as it's going, we need a reboot. And if Lynx is one of the only ways that we can really do that right now, it's our best option, then that's what we're going to have to do. You know what I mean? It's something we're going to have to roll with the punches at this point. We can't really do anything. We can't stop it. And at this point, we do need a reboot for the game. So,
Right.
when we're talking about pay to win, in the past we had like Cosmo, Necros, we had, you know, Shadalls with just crazy cards, just really expensive.
Klee.
Like, Klee even, you know what I mean? Just Disc and Scout back in the day, and Monolith, just the whole deck was ridiculous. And just even going back in time, you know what I mean? Just more decks. Just obviously, it was more pay to win back in the day. It's even hat format, you know what I mean? The hands were extremely expensive. The artifacts in Sanctum were also ridiculous in the price range. And then we come back to now when we had a good streak of like cheap meta where anybody had access to it. We just got the Dino Structure deck, which brought us another $30 Structure deck meta, which a lot of people do like, and it gives, you know, obvious funding to Konami and gives a lot of people the chance to play in the meta. But as soon as Maximum Crisis came out, they came out with these True Dracos, which just completely changed how, like, the meta is going to look. It used to be just, like, Dinos and all these other options that we have, but now it's, like, True Draco, True Draco, True Draco, and everything, and if you're not playing True Draco, you're done. So, I'll stop ranting for a second, and I'll let YugiBot talk, so...
Oh, no, continue. It's just that if every single deck is using, essentially, a $90 card, because Dragonic Diagram is just, oh, you could search for a True King by destroying one of your cards. Every single card now pluses from a destroy, so every single deck uses Dragonic Diagram. Back in the day, it was like, oh, well, we have this meta. Okay, well, let me just play ABC, you know, $30 deck, beats everything. Okay, well, that's fair. And now we're coming back to the point where it's like, okay, well, we have the structure deck, it's called Dinosaurs. Oh, that sounds pretty neat. Are they any good? Yeah, if you play Dragonics or True Kings.
Yeah, pay to win is not an aspect of the game that I feel most people don't like, and the people that can afford to play the game are gonna say, no, play to win is fine. It gives like the more skilled players who want to put more money into the game, you know, it puts them on top. It's not that. It's more like you're playing solitaire and you win just because you poured more money into the game. Unlike someone who can't really afford the game that might be and probably is more skilled than you are, but you're playing the better deck. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of
that pay-to-win advantage can directly be seen in the new hand trap Ash Blossom and Joy of Spring.
I mean, this card is gonna be it's not gonna be. It is one of the best hand traps ever printed in Yu-Gi-Oh! It has an aspect for adding cards to hand, which pretty much every deck does. It has something for special summoning, and has something from send a card from deck to graveyard. So, I don't know how they're gonna work this throughout the rest of the game, but the thing is that this card is so good for now and the future of the game that it's going to be a staple. And the problem with making staple cards high rarities and shorter prints is that the people that need to play them in decks that, kind of utilize them, or just a staple card like this, it's not a staple anymore. It's a card that is like a pseudo staple to the point where you can't use it as a staple anymore. It's something that should have been a staple. It should have been something that is access to everyone and been used in every deck, like how Toad. I know that I played Toad in Water, but Toad in Japan was made a rare and made accessible to anybody that could get their hands on a Bahamut Shark. And Bahamut Sharks are relatively cheap because they came out at gold. And whatever, they got printed a lot. That's all I can remember.
Yeah, because then everyone's just playing Tin Goldfish and Bubble Man.
Yeah, and even then, it came out as a secret rare, and it was a $10 secret rare. So it's not that hard to get it. And over there in Japan, they have a good lockdown on how to, put out their product and know how to appease to the masses. And here
their Dragonic diagram is rare.
Yeah, as you can see, over in Japan, they make the cards that they know a lot of people are going to want. Even then, people are still going to buy those sets, but they'll have a higher chance of getting it out of those sets, even if it is a rare. Because even if you do only get one rare per set, you're still going to have a higher chance of getting it, because it's not as short printed as a secret rare is. And it just makes it shows how, much Konami shafts the TCG, and shows how much they're just using this as a cash cow so that they can fund their pride and joy, their home base center of Japan. And it's extremely biased, this game, in terms of showing you how much they don't really care about the TCG, how we have to pretty much run our own events so that we can appease to people who are sick and tired of the Konami and how they're treating us. And over there, they're treating them as their king. And every single player over there is just better. They're held them in such high.
You know why?
It's where it came out.
Because they, right?
It's
where they also. Pay
but it's
the most
you
money.
have
That's where
so
they get
many
all of their
players
money
across the world that even if you know what I mean, you have so many players around the world that are deserving of the same treatment as you treat your home base, and it's really
it's just
discouraging or not encouraging to keep playing the game if you see how they're treating you. And these players are what make you so much money. They're what fund your events. They are the ones that are just playing your game and enjoying your game. And if you want someone to enjoy your game and keep coming back over and over again and tell people to play your game, don't force them to have to play these expensive cards. You know what I mean? I am okay with them saying, here, you should play this expensive card, right? But don't make it an expensive card. Make it a card that's accessible to everybody. Don't make it where it's too accessible, because then it will just flood the market and it'll just flood the player base. Make it somewhere it's intermediate. It's maybe a super rare, right?
Right.
Because super rares are a lot more frequent.
Essentially, that's a rare now.
Yeah, that's a rare. And if you have it as a super rare, it'll be accessible to everyone, essentially. I know it'll be a little bit harder to get, but there'll be more of it. More players will have access to it, and it can, especially in a card like Ash Blossom, which can be used in every single deck, but utilized by zombie decks and stuff like that do a lot of synchro summoning, of course, in search for zombies. But it's just such a good card, and again, with Dragonic Diagram, can be used in any other deck that can plus off of destruction, which is pretty much every deck now. Especially True King and Zodiac True King and whatever is out there.
Metal Foe.
Every deck, but Metal Foe is dying, of course. Pendulum Mechanics is just going to be done with all together in the future, but that's another story for another day. But cards like these should not be printed as secret rares. These cards should be printed like how they have them over in Japan, rares, or even, as we said, super rares.
Right. It's honestly, though, it's because Konami knows how dumb we are. Because a great example would just be Crystal Wing. That card was, $60, $80 when it first came out?
Yeah, it was crazy. That card went up so quick.
Everyone bought the sets because they all wanted one. And it was a very good card, really good card. And then they're like, okay, we're done making money off this set, let's just reprint it.
Yeah.
We'll just put it. We'll just throw it in there. Now everyone can have it once we've already made all of our money. Rather than the OCG meta, or not meta, sorry, OCG Konami, who's just like, okay, there's this brand new card. There's 2 cards, Dragonic Diagram and Ash Blossom. Both of them are going to be needed in every single deck. However, we still need to make money. Which one do you want to give up? And I guess Dragonic Diagram, because it's just, if you make everything so much money, eventually people can't afford it, and you're going to be losing a lot of people because they can't buy all of the cards that they want.
Yeah, if they did what they did over here in the US, over in Japan, they'd lose so many players.
Yeah.
Like, if they made everything high rarity and short printed over there, they'd lose the majority of their player base. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And they're like, oh, we're trying to get rid of the secondary market. We're trying to make everything cheaper. And then they immediately release this.
And getting rid of the secondary market, it's never going to be gone. Obviously, people are going to be making money off of it and being able to sell cards because people want to buy cards like quicker, faster, and not have to like open up packs.
They don't want to go through the RNG. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always going to be there. But the idea behind making it more accessible and cheaper to play the game was a fantastic idea. It made people not only like as a byproduct of making the game cheaper to play, it made them more money.
Right, and this can easily be seen in the gold packs, the mega tins, and the structure that's
especially when they came out with Premium Gold 3, when they came out with one of the best decks at the time, Cosmo and Burning Abyss, because you got a Burning Abyss card in every pack. The harder to get one was obviously Cosmo, because again, Cosmo was probably like one of the best decks in that format.
Right.
You know what I mean? So obviously they're going to make that one a little bit harder to get, but it was still extremely accessible.
Yeah, because even though maybe it was rare to get, it really cheaped the deck down for everyone to play.
It gave everyone access to an extremely meta deck at an extremely affordable price, which is what the game should be. It should be allowing the skilled players to be able to play the game at a reasonable price and not allowing the players that can push the money into game to go to events and, you know, possibly, if they can push out the money, go to like YCSs, and then even possibly by getting like their invite to Worlds and stuff like that, going to Worlds, but not even being skilled enough to play against those kind of players. Right. You know, it's flooding tournaments with players who don't really know what they're doing. They're just doing like basic combos that they've seen online, and just because they're playing the better deck compared to their opponent, they're gonna win, because a lot of times people are not going to be able to play against a meta deck that is just such as True King and Dragonic and True Draco or whatever.
Or if you're just having 3 Ash Blossoms.
Yeah, like that. Like, if you can't afford to be able to stop those kind of cards or play against them, you're not going to have a chance against a player who doesn't really know what they're doing and they're able to activate these cards. So, I mean, the game is extremely degenerative. It's just, like, over here in the TCG. Over in Japan, they're a whole other realm on their own. I really hope that someday I mean, they get a taste of what we feel over here, because then they can understand what we're really going through, because they live in their own little realm and they don't really understand what we're going through. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's like an epidemic or something that's awful.
Or we get a taste of what they have. Imagine just having the most splashable card in the game be a common.
I mean,
that'd be great.
It's like, I don't get it. Like, if you have something that you saw, because I looked up the article on it, and it was like, when they came out with the ABC structure deck, like the meta and like the monarchs and stuff like that, like, you could see the gigantic spike in profit.
Because the monarch
everyone was just
so
like
good.
Going on Amazon, like
so
the Konami dealers, and just bought them straight up. They just bought 3 of them at once. $30 meta. There you go. Or going to Walmart buying it. The profit they made off of those was ridiculous. And I get it. People are still going to buy cases of their sets and whatever over here. But when you see how much in comparison people will rush to a meta deck that is $30, it's baffling, you know what I mean? In comparison to people, you can make the same money in how much, just like a ratio. Someone buys a case to try and get the cards that they're looking for, or guaranteed buy a meta for $30. It's relatively the same, you know what I mean? If you compare the ratio. If someone's buying like a bunch of the Maximum Crisis, and then someone sees, hey, the True King Draco before whatever, the sets,
Mhm.
like a lot of people are still gonna be buying those the structure decks.
Right. It also with the structure decks. Back then, you got Monarch, and you got ABCs, and you could hear people boasting about them, being like, "Yeah, I barely had to pay any money. I learned the deck."
And
pretty
that's when you
quickly."
really saw
Yep.
like a resurgence of really skilled players.
Right. Now, I must ask, how many people do you see boasting that they play the Ancient Gear structure deck?
Like 0.
Zero. And it's because it's not really useful.
In a meta determined by I can spend about $600 on 6 cards total.
Right. It's like, dinosaurs can sort of be seen like this, the same, but the true meta with them is if you just combine them with the True Kings, which essentially just takes that $30 deck and just adds like $300 to it.
It skyrockets the price and just puts all the players that wanted to be able to get a chance to play the meta and buries them in, you know, if
In
they
a
do
paywall.
try to pay it all, to pay for the deck, buries them in, I don't want to say debt, but essentially.
Yeah.
So to just wrap up here, we've gone for about 15 minutes, 16 minutes going on, talking about how pay-to-win meta is extremely degenerative to the game. It's not something we want, and the game definitely needs a reboot. I mean, we're still gonna have True King Draco and Dracos and whatever going on, that madness, along with Ash
Yeah, they're
Blossom.
still going to be there.
They're still gonna
but
be there, but extra deck
Lynx
stuff
could
that's
give
just
us a saving
extremely
grace.
ignorant to the game, and I just want skill to be back in the game and not pay to win. Obviously, in the future when links become more relevant and stuff like that, it's gonna be pay to win again, and skill players are gonna just fall to the bottom. But the people who can think of the combos and think about how to strategically play in link format will see a resurgence of those kind of players, which I really want to see. I don't want to play against someone who's just like, I can play True King Draco, Dinosaur Zoo 60 card lawn mowing and win because I spent like my entire bank,
$5,000.
my entire savings, and I can win an event without really knowing how to play the deck or really knowing how to play against the meta because I'm playing best deck. I can play ignorant and still win.
Right.
I have nothing against the players who are skilled and play the deck and understand how the game works. You know what I mean?
No, because if they have the
Because
ability to buy
the best
deck
strategy
and use
in the
deck
game,
correctly,
of course,
then go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, because the best strategy in the game is to play the best deck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or anti-meta.
Or anti-meta. If there's a good anti-meta deck out there, like Barrier Statue, go for it. Because that takes skill, and
that's
you're obviously know what you're...
relatively cheap.
And
it
that's
takes
relatively
skill.
cheap, of course. Like me, we like to try and play... Obviously, we've gone from playing tier 30 to me and Yugibot here to just ascending, you know what I mean? We're finally playing tier 1 decks.
Although I was kind of like brought from tier like 3.
Yeah,
all
he's
the
been
way
with
back up to
Inferno for
tier
the
1.
longest time, and it's kind of just bopped between tier 1 and
Since
tier
it
2
first
since
came out, and it
since
was
forever.
great.
But
Yeah.
it's like we still play our meta decks, right? But we're not gonna we don't play them because they're just ignorant and stuff like that. We play them because we know that we came from playing low tier and how
Right.
we
Well,
had to play in the game back then.
I like playing Infernoid because I like how they look and how they play.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but because back then it was, very low tier. It was like only like what, Harmodic, a Tondel. There was no, like, I think Deviati just came out.
yeah. So to wrap things up, Yu-Gi-Oh's pay to win again. Be wary of that. Be wary of what.
Let's just
Yeah.
hope it's for a short time.
Let's hope it's for a short time. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for sticking around for about 18 minutes. Ranting is always entertaining. Anyway, guys, again, thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the like button as hard as you can, and subscribe to the channel for some more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh content like this. And as always, guys, hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Don't forget about that True King Aqua Actress.
Of course.